What's good, fellas? It's Zero again. It's been a while. I know. Got a video for you today. How about that? Isn't that great? Looking as homeless as possible. I haven't cut my hair in a while. All unshaven and decrepit. Don't you just love it? Hopefully you're all doing well. Today's video is going to be a speedrun breakdown as we did before with Malzeno. The purpose of these videos is to educate, to show my thoughts during a speedrun, to explain why I took the gear that I did and some strategies for the specific monster. It's designed to just sort of give you an insight into what I think when I'm running, or what a speedrunner might be thinking, and everything that goes into it. And, you know, it might give you a chance for you to pick up the weapon or to run the monster yourself or to give it a try and maybe have a little bit of a better time on it. But before we get into it, though, you may remember that I did an ad campaign. It just had a sponsored video a little while back. What's going to be happening now is part 2, the second and final part of that ad campaign. So sit back. I'll see you all in just a little while. And thank you very much to the sponsors of this video. Before we get into that, I want to thank Raid Shadow Legends for offering to sponsor this video. I mean, who hasn't heard of them at this point? A huge game with tons of big boss battles. Taking command of over 600 champions through PvP or PvE, Raid lets you customize your own party of powerful characters as you brave terrifying dungeons and powerful boss enemies. And the roster keeps on growing like the fiery Minotaur here. He's one of the simplest fights that you'll face in Raid, but you'll want to learn the mechanics to claim your scrolls as a reward. I'd recommend bringing a champion that can block debuffs, as the hex he can place on you can get pretty dicey. Right now, Raid are adding so much to the game, such as 5 brand new champions, an overhaul of the vault, and even adding in new skills for Trunda, the best dwarf. And even then, you can still go further and participate in the Deliana chase event to claim the legendary high elf champion, Deliana. All you have to do is log in and play for 7 days before July the 28th and you'll get her for free. And if you're brand new to the game, all you have to do is enter the code MyDeliana to get your hands on everything, including EXP brews to max out this new champion. Right now, if you click my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen, you'll get yourself free bonuses that are worth $30. We're talking Tyrell, the free epic champion, 200,000 silver, energy refills, you name it. All of these rewards will be waiting for you as shown on screen right here. Remember, it's only for new players, and only for the first 30 days. Thank you so much, Raid, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. Okay, and we're back. Thank you all for sticking around for that. So, today's run is going to be Hammer, specifically Courage Hammer, Brave Hammer, Valor Hammer from Monster Hunter GU, whatever you want to call it, versus Seething Bazelgeuse. We had Title Update 1 recently with 4 monsters, 3 incredible monsters, and Silver Ratlos. It was a great title update. Added a bunch of stuff, added a whole mountain of content, and Seething itself, after being disappointed with base Rise Bazelgeuse, I was very pleasantly surprised that they managed to make it a good fight in this. There's a few reasons for that, which we'll be going over, but first of all, as we tend to do, we'll start with the rule set and the gear. First thing is the rule set. The rule set I abide by is TA rules. Now, I'm saying that in quotations because there's been a lot of controversy and a lot of debate and a lot of, I wouldn't say fighting, but in some cases, yeah, kind of fighting about what the new TA rules are. Basically, for me, I am not going to be submitting to the official TA leaderboards. I'm not going to be submitting my videos to them. There's a lot of restrictions that they like to put on now for PC runs to be accepted, and even then half the time they go into a reference category, which is seen as kind of inferior. I'm not going to be submitting my videos to them. I'm not going to be doing that, not out of hatred, just I don't want to. So I'm going to be doing the way that I do it. To me, the TA rules are about your weapon, the monster, and that is it. Just your base armor set, weapon, monster. That's it. You, your weapon versus the monster. That's all it is. What the official TA rules do, though, is that they ban the armor augmentation, the new Curio armor augmentation, which you can see here I've already done. You can see by the little icon next to my armor pieces. They also vet charms for legitimacy, despite the 1 in 4 10 trillion or whatever the hell it is chance. As I said in the Malzeno video, I do mod in my charms, and this run features one of those. It's still a legal charm, but it wasn't obtained through melding. On top of that as well, they do also add in some restrictions, such as for PC, you aren't allowed to use spawn mods or size mods or HP mods. I believe the only thing I have featured so far in this is a size mod, and I don't even think it works. Honestly, it was from base Sunbreak, so it might have gotten patched out. I don't think I've updated it yet. So that's the only mod that I have for spawn, HP, and size, all three of which I consider acceptable. That's how I'm doing this run. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be posting them anywhere that requires these other restrictions, so I'm not in violation of it. I think it's acceptable. I've career augmented my stuff. That's how I'm doing it. If you want to do it a different way, if you want to do it in line with the leaderboard's rules, then you do that. Not my place to tell you what to do. The armor set itself, however, very, very sort of basic stuff. What we're going to show off here is some of the gems and curio augments, so you can sort of get an idea that I'm only using as well just naturally generated curio augments. The Abominable Avalanche I have here has a sharpness and an HP augment. It also has the anti-wyvern duel for 5%. The Teostra pieces you saw there had the level 1 slot go to a level 2 and a point in part breaker added. Malzeno Mail has no slot changes, but it has a point of windproof and master's touch. The Archfiend arms, I believe, have 1 point in chain crit. The Rathlos waist has a point in load shells because I'm using it for a different set, and the Shigaru legs has a point in crit boost. The charm itself is an attack boost 3, Wirebug Whisperer 3, 3-1-1 slot again. Maximum, and I believe that was possible back in base Rise. You can see here I'm using a courage set using the blue swap scroll skill because I am running dereliction and I want a raw boost on the blue scroll. And the skills: crit eye 7, attack boost 6, ice attack 5, courage boosts your element for hammer. I believe it increases it around about from 10 to maybe 30%. I don't have those numbers just yet, but they'll probably be on screen if I got them wrong. But as you go up the different charge levels, your element attack increases. Bazelgeuse has amazing ice elemental hit zones and very good raw hit zones, which makes it a perfect target for this sort of thing. The Ghost Harag hammer I'm using over something like Somnicanth, even though it has lower ice. I'm using it for the very, very impressive, I believe, 350 raw, and also the natural purple sharpness. Not only that, I'm running max crit eye, so that's 40% affinity plus an extra 20 from Bloodlust. So we're getting very, very, very close to that 100% affinity with weakness exploit. And of course, with that, I'm running crit boost and master's touch because they all go well together. Wirebug Whisperer is right behind my head, so let me just move the camera here so you can sort of see those skills. You can see here, just over that away, we've got Master's Touch, Wirebug Whisperer. Wirebug Whisperer is great for hammer because you're using a lot of Wirebug skills, specifically keeping sway, where you dash forward, you get a bit of iframes, you get a bit of invulnerability, you get a distance closer, and you can maintain your charge level. So that's all very good, and you're always going to be picking up that third bug as well, so it's very, very nice to have. On top of that, we also have Part Breaker level 2, which is great because I run Bloodright in this set. Dereliction 2, as you can see here. The reason I'm running Bloodright is for comfort. I love the skill. Having basically health augment once you've broken apart is very nice, and I only have 1 point in resentment, so I'm not taking advantage of that. And then Bloodlust. Bloodlust is one of my favorite skills. It's aggressive. It gives you 20% affinity once you overcome the frenzy, and yeah, it's just a cool little skill to have. Not only that, it also does proc resentment whilst it's active, and then heals you once you overcome it. It's a brilliant skill, and I'd absolutely recommend you give it a try. Even at level 1, it's very effective. That's the set, and of course that 1 extra point in chain crit doesn't really make too much of a difference, but it's there. It's nice to have. Seething Bazelgeuse in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. A lot of information to take in. These videos are generally very unscripted, they're very off the cuff, they're very fun to do as well. So hopefully you learned something. Right, I believe that's everything about the set, everything about the rules. Let's talk about Goose himself. The big thing about Seething Bazelgeuse is that he is a punching bag. His hit zones are very good on the head and the tail, and they're very easy to hit. Despite that, I do still miss a few hits here and there, but they are very big, very easy to hit, and very, very good. Very good. We've got like a 25 for ice on the head and 85 for raw. It's beautiful. When he gets enraged, he heats them up, his head and his tail. If you do enough damage to his head or his tail, it explodes, deals extra damage to him, and he falls over. If, say, you pop the head but the tail is still active, he stays down for a short amount of time. If the head is popped and then you pop the tail, he stays down for longer. Now, the best thing about this is that he won't pop and fall over if you either KO him or if you get a random head topple, which is carried over from the base Bazelgeuse. This guy has 4 topples. 4 topples. 2 when he's enraged, head and tail. 1 for KO, because of the weapon that we're running, and another one that is just normal damage. He just falls over. It's like Nargacuga. You do enough damage to Nargacuga's head, it eventually falls over, just as a stagger. It's ridiculous. And this run is using those different topples in sort of tandem with each other to build them up to mean that the next hit will cause him to do another type of those topples, and so on and so forth. So it gets a bit dicey at a few points. I think this could probably, with a perfect run and maybe a better, maybe the Somnicanth hammer might be a little bit better, but I think this could hit maybe 420, the funny weed number. But 440 is a very good time. I'm very proud of it. I got a 530, posted it on Twitter, and then this other hammer runner by the name of Blaze, really good runner by the way, just tweeted at me. Never seen their stuff before. Great hammer runner. Checked it out and they were like, yeah, I got a 450. I'm like, all right, I'm beating that. So I got a 440. Competition. Sometimes it's good for the soul. But that's everything. The spawn here is the standard one in the lava cavern. You can get one towards the left of the lava cavern's map in the water. I think that's slightly better. It's slightly more open, less restrictive, less ledges to fall down. And then the 10% is just a garbage spawn. So yeah, I think we did pretty good for what we had here. So let's just get started straight away, shall we? Just going to shrink the camera down here and we'll get right on that. Okay, away we go. I forgot to shrink the camera, by the way, professional. I'm small now. Okay, so usual stuff here, the usual speedrun run-up. We take the Mega Demon Drug. You're not going to be able to see the item wheel, that's fine. My camera's going here and it's staying here. Take the Mega Demon Drug, take the Might Seed, take the Demon Powder, and then vault, jump into the cavern, and grab ourselves the 3rd wire bug. There we go. Beautiful. Goose always ends up at the further end of the cavern here. You just have to hope that he's not going to get accosted by a spider or a crab. Make sure you have at least 1 wire bug. Remember to change your scroll, unsheath your weapon. Charge up to blue. Bit of a slow start. Hit once, roar to the side, water strike the roar. This opening was shown to be by Casti, a very good hammer speedrunner, because you get the uppercut and then the slam, and that goes into an instant KO. So very, very good opening immediately, right? Instant KO. I'm running Feline Slugger on this set with my Dango skills. You water strike, you go straight into it, and that means we can already start building up the damage to get over Bloodlust and get our affinity up. So standard combo here, go through the level 3s. Once we hit that slam down, I'm going in and doing the Impact Burst Silk Bind. What that does is gives me a few extra hits on my Courage Strikes, and then we keeping sway the roar. Now, I know here, and the reason I'm being so aggressive, I know here that we're going to get 2 staggers. If we get a stagger and we don't get the parts broken short, his head breaks very, very quickly after that, within 1 attack, as you saw here. Now with this, that means that Bloodright is now active, and I've got a constant source of healing, so even if I take a couple of hits here and there, I'm going to be able to recover it as long as I don't get 1 shot. Seriously, Bloodright is a great skill to have. It's so comfy. Whilst it does restrict you to 1 Malzeno piece, Malzeno's armor is good enough that you're not really losing out on much. So unless you're going properly extreme with it, or you maybe want to do a heroics or an adrenaline setup, I'd recommend it. I love the skill. I think it's brilliant. It makes things so much more fun to fight. So here we go. And there we go. He's already in rage mode, and we already got that head stagger. Now I'm going in here at this angle because I know I'm going to catch a couple of my attacks on his wings, and his wings aren't too bad. What this means, though, is that I can get a KO very quickly and sort of save the tail pop for later, which works out in my favor quite a bit, actually. Sort of previously, I was paying attention to the tail pop when he did this first stagger, and it meant that I got another KO as soon as he got back up, but I found that later on, that basically meant that I had to do more KO damage to get a KO, when in reality, if I just leave the tail there, it's much easier to get a tail pop later on in the run. So sort of by using up my KOs a little bit more at the start of the fight, but leaving that tail stagger just in my pocket ready to go, it means that I can guarantee a tail pop where I might not have gotten a KO. So it's kind of just adjusting the priorities of each different stagger around, sort of fitting it together like a puzzle. And this is by no means perfect, but it worked for me here. So we're going in, he's going to get KO'd very soon, back up, keeping sway to the head, dodging right through that fire attack, and boom, down he goes. Just this, back to the same combo. Honestly, using Courage Hammer makes it so mobile, and the fact that I'm running Goss's Hammer here with a very, very high raw means I can get away with using a Big Bang combo, 1500 on that final hit. This bite attack here, let's talk about that. This bite attack is, in some monsters, it will send you flying, especially if they're doing the running variant of it, but with Goose, it's free. Doesn't knock you back, you can get a hit on the head, and with Blood Right, you restore the damage done by it straight up. Now here's where a lot of time was wasted. Goose is doing his dive bomb attack. He goes 1, 2, and then dive bombs you. Hammer can very easily respond to this. It's just an attack that takes a long time. If I'd been maybe sort of intelligent about it, I might have tried to time to a point where I maybe was behind him so I could do damage to get just a normal stagger if I hit the tail, or if I hit the head, maybe we could have gotten another dunk out of it or something like that. But that was very rough. He rarely does do that attack when he gets back up after a KO as well. He sort of seems to be favoring more attacks than this, but this was just an unlucky roll. Now, when he does the final dive bomb here, I want you to pay attention to what I do, because you can water strike the entire thing. You just have to delay it a little bit. If you do it, you can avoid the damage from the explosion, which is great because it's normally a one-shot, but if you do it too early, you get hit by the tremor at the end, which happens to me here. If you delay it ever so slightly, you can avoid the whole thing, charge back up, and run back in. So let's take a look at that. Down he comes, go for the water strike, see I avoid all damage, and I get hit with a tremor, and I'm just flopping around, just doing nothing, and I have to wait for him to go into his next attack. Now this attack here, the head slam, very good attack, very good opening, especially if you're running water strike. You just have to back up a tiny bit because there's two parts to the hitbox. There's the head slam itself, and then there's the follow-up explosion. You can back up just the tiniest little bit because the hitbox on the head is pristine. You can then from there, what you do is you water strike the explosion, you do a level 3 golf swing, and then you do back into courage and do a level 3 charge attack. It's really satisfying to pull off. It's really powerful. However, here I was laser focused on that tail. I realized in the back of my head we've got to start building up damage on that tail. We haven't done any damage so far. We've got to start doing it. So the tracking isn't so great for this attack, so you can just run past him, keeping sway, do what you will, get some damage on the tail, and go from there. Boom. He's going for some attacks here. And he always taunts after it as well, so that's another thing. And then I realized, okay, cool. He's staggered, let's do some damage on the head. What we want to do here is enough damage while he's down to make sure he enrages when he gets back up. Now, we're not entirely close enough yet, as you can see here, but one more hit allows us to get in there. Boom. And then another uppercut. And then every time he does this attack, you can just go straight to the tail. It's a nice and safe spot. And I'm slowly building up damage on the tail. Now, the damage for the tail explosion, where he sort of falls over, doesn't decay. It doesn't slow down. So you can reasonably just hit it a couple of times, and it'll build up eventually. Death of a Thousand Cuts style. Going for another big bang after we get this KO here. This is going to do enough damage so that when he gets back up, one hit is going to pop him. Which you should be able to see very shortly. Again, he goes for the big explosion spreading attack, missed twice. That was the I was talking about. And now we get hit by the explosions here. It's not a damage loss because you can see that Goose is just coming towards us anyways. He comes towards you until he basically hits you, so you have to sort of dodge to the sides or just be a very, very far distance away from him to stop this second follow-up shovel attack. So realistically, his whole body's a hitbox during this. I can't really do anything. So even if I was on my feet and I did have my hammer out, I wouldn't have been able to respond until he stopped. So you can see here, I've wirefalled, and then now I respond anyways. Exactly the same thing that would have happened if I was on the ground. Now he's down at this point. He is down and staggered, so I know that one more hit after doing some damage to the tail is going to end up staggering him. What I'm hoping here is we do enough damage to get him to go straight into rage mode when he gets back up. That's the plan here, and as you can see, nice and easy, that happens. Go back in, get the damage, and here, boom, no stars around the head, no explosion. This is the head topple I'm talking about. We managed to build up enough damage to get the standard Bazelgeuse head topple. So that's the fourth topple coming in. Honestly, he's such a great punching bag, and he's a lot of fun once you learn to dance around some of the explosions. Definitely a lot more bearable than normal Goose, in my opinion. So here we go, I'm going in, I'm just sinking all of my damage into the head, hoping we can get enough in there so that when he gets back up, one more hit is gonna pop him. Now I'm playing it safe here. I didn't want to risk going in for a one hit on the head when it may not have popped. As you can see here, I do an uppercut. I tried to roll here to do the water strike response that I was talking about, but I still had my charge, so I just decided to go, screw it, let's just go back in for the courage combo. Boom, we get the KO. I know at this point I'm going to be doing so much damage, it's guaranteed that I'm going to be able to pop him when he gets back up. And I'm thinking as I'm doing this in the back of my mind, well, we're going to get the pop there. But what I notice whilst I'm doing it, I'm thinking, okay, when he gets back up after this, he's going to fall over from one hit, one damage. Even a kunai will throw him over as long as I hit the head. And then I see this animation here. This little step and the roar just before he falls over. That is his animation going, hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to be leaving. The next thing in my AI string to do is leave this area. And that's a huge time loss. So I'm thinking, okay, then that means I've just got to go for the tail. It's a worse hit zone. I don't know how much damage I've been doing. That head pop took a while, so we're going for the tail. Blue skull pops up. You can see up there in the top right hand corner, the blue skull pops up, showing that he's weak. And I'm on the edge here. I'm like, I've got to go for this tail. I've got to pop it. I've got to get that. We've got to be one and done. So I go in, the hit, we hit it, we get the stagger, we go in for again, and we get the pop. And then it's do or die time. It is just go straight for the head, go for the best hit zone, hope we do enough damage, hope he doesn't start running away, and boom, he's down. I can tell you that at the end of that, I'm like shaking. I'm going, whoa, you know, I was this close to him leaving. You know, you could see everything, and he was about to bugger off, and I would lose the run and have to do it again. So that's it. Yeah, that's 4 minutes 40. Seething Bazelgeuse with hammer. Pretty huge time, actually. I think I'm really happy with that, and hammer is so much fun. To give you an idea, hammer is actually at the lower end of the spectrum of damage nowadays in Sunbreak. In terms of speedrun times, it's not getting crazy shit like charge blade or, you know, great sword or bow guns or anything like that, or bow. It's not getting anything close to that. It is fun. It does do good damage. This is about 53,000 HP, maybe 56,000 HP in 4 minutes 40. Very respectable time. Very good time. I like I said, I think it's a very good time. Also, peep the drip. Very nice. But yeah, that is hammer. But of course, you know, you'd be looking at something like Charge Blade doing a sub 4 on this. You'd be looking at Sword and Shield maybe even doing a sub 4 on this. You'd be looking at Great Sword maybe even sub 3 if he plays nice, you know, crazy shit like that. And I do think though the main improvement is that they made Courage Hammer good, because it's the most fun way to play hammer in my opinion. It does very good damage, as you can see here, and it also means that the main complaint people had with Base Rise's hammer locked into Impact Crater is no longer a thing. You notice I didn't use Impact Crater once throughout this run, and I still get this time. Does that mean that Impact Crater is the strongest? Who knows, but there's a lot more playstyles for hammer that are viable now. So hopefully you took something away from that. These, like I said, these ones are a bit more hectic, a bit more fast, a bit more unscripted, but I hope you sort of came away with an understanding of how I approached this run, the reasons I did what I did, some of the mistakes I made, you know? I'm not perfect. I'd love to be, who wouldn't? But sometimes this stuff happens. And hey, if you give hammer a try, if you give Goose a try, tell me about it. Tell me how you did. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Alright, well that's it from me everybody. I hope to be back making more regular videos, maybe more commentary videos, and I haven't forgotten about the second part of the Monster Hunter 1 video, so thank you all so much for watching. Thanks again to the sponsor. That ad campaign is now done and dusted, so let's see what the next one will be, right? Take it easy lads. I'll see you next time.